StreamYard doesn't quite handle that right. Hey guys, red morning. How you doing? It's Saturday morning. Calm your horses. I see everybody in chat losing their mind because we're on Donovan Standard Time. Chesty's here. You remember Chesty? How's it going, bud?
Pretty good. I'm an honorary
T-Rexer.
yeah, that's right, a T-Rexer and or Black Person Time show appearance member. Today. So cut me some slack, guys.
You know what? Whatever. Look, guys, I've seen the other podcasts out there. Like right now, you're getting ultimate professionalism, which is the theme of the show today. Actually, I do have to ask. It's something I didn't ask offline, but you kind of came up with this idea, but I'm not sure exactly what spawned it. I went back looking through the tweets, but I have a feeling that might be your smart TV giving you inspiration again. The smart TV that shows me all of the stupid MGTOW 42069 channels. Thank you very much, by the way.
Yeah, I apologize profusely for my algorithm on my television. I get some of the best and worst things sent to me. Good for entertainment value, terrible for content and ability to advise men on doing anything correctly. It's either the avatars that give you things in snippets.
Yeah.
Like Ribby the Party Frog and Man Talk. Or it's
I've never heard of Man Talk.
Yeah, Man Talk's great. It's a guy from Romania, so it's Tate land, and it's an avatar of like some mercenary, and he talks in a very thick Romanian accent, but he does speak good English well, and he's got all the terminology down. And he just does his woman bad shtick, and it's impressive. He's one of the better short formers that I've seen.
Well, now you got me impressed. Somebody in Romania I might want to actually watch content from. This is new.
Yes. I mean, he could be a basement dweller, but he has some reasonable, quick takes and insight on the way that people behave, and he's big on the TikTok girls who go into things ad nauseum, and he ends up playing like a Beethoven's fifth version of Nobody Cares over top of it, and it's kind of it's kind of funny. But then there's long form guys who are just awful, and you've got the vampire who likes to prattle on and hey guys, Taylor the Fiend again, and back at you with another reaction video.
He's trying to go WKRP in Cincinnati with that voice.
He is, and he's another guy though. He's not American. I think he's either Australian. I think he's Australian. And then my favorite, Darius M. Oh God, is he terrible?
Oh, he's the semen retention guy.
Well, he kind of is, but he's more the he's like the Wish.com version of Fresh and Fit, if that is even possible.
Wow, that's yeah. You guys don't realize how savage a burn that just was.
So he's
I love subtext.
So he's one black guy with half a cup, I guess, and he will film from anywhere, a park bench, sitting on the floor outside of hotel rooms in a hotel. So he'll like be in a hotel hallway, sitting flat on his ass with his GoPro set up on a tripod, going into great lengths about how to deal with women. And I'm like, dude, are you fucking homeless? You don't appear to have anything going on here at all. That dude. And it's and all of his videos are enormously long, and you got to be careful divorce rape out here, guys, because she might take your camera because that looks like the only fucking thing you own.
I'm almost wondering who was in that hotel room that he had to do it from out in the hall, or did he pull an Anthony Johnson where he just sneaks into the hotel to look like he's staying there, but just sits in the hall because he didn't have a key?
And the weird thing is that a lot of these guys, I don't know if they collaborate or if they just really like the awful material. Is they'll shout out, just some shit, creators. It's like, oh, I give a shout out to Wheat Waffles for this, or 21 Conventions got a lot of TikTok and wham and bad shit that they run in short form now.
Oh
So
boy.
oh yeah, Anthony Johnson's got like this big lineup of just 5-minute long compilations of dog shit.
Welcome to Anti-Rolocon.
Oh yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Well, basically, it's more a let these women speak for themselves type of stuff, because nobody speaks over it. He doesn't talk on any of this stuff. The only thing that he has added to any of this content is his mixing of it, and then that stupid 21 Convention stamp in the corner there.
The fake watermark he's got going on.
Yes,
See, that makes me wonder.
Exactly.
So I don't know. I know you do more like financial stuff, but do you have like any experience with copyright law or IP?
I do, and a lot of this stuff does fall under fair use, because you're taking a bunch of different things and you're kind of compiling them together and making it something unique. But at the same time, if you're not commenting about it, or you're not making damn sure that you're either using it as parody or as an example of something new that's created from that other copyrighted material. I mean, if somebody got pissed off enough, I think it would be pretty easy to send a cease and desist, or at least have YouTube or TikTok or whomever do a strike, a copyright strike, because just the fact that a lot of times it's literally just
it's on the line.
It's 80% of the creator's content just kind of being shown out of context, with other people's stuff. But he has,
because that's what I was thinking. Because when you just aggregate other people's stuff, that's no different than like I'm going to make my own TV channel and just show NBC and CBS shows.
Yes, to a certain extent, you're right. Unless,
but I guess somebody has to basically.
Yeah, I mean, unless you came in over top of it and said, "Look at all this shit," and then it becomes something else.
That's the caliber of critique I expect from those kind of videos too. What is this horse shit?
Yeah,
I don't know the whole thing. Here's the part that I don't get from it all. Like whatever. Yeah. You obviously know that I'm not a big fan of Tate. He takes me too close to my like previous family history with the Angels and like petty crime thuggery stuff. But
oh yeah,
like he at least works well, professional quality, has his little marketing level MLM scheme going, so people are like selling his Amway products on TikTok. But most of these guys, I'm like, this is the easiest job ever. I sit here and I talk into a little box in the corner about how great I am or how bad women are. How could you not add any amount of like professional conduct to it? Like, I get it. It's Jerry Springer.
Well, because everybody's thinking that it's easy. That's part of the problem, is that professional people understand that whatever image that they're trying to cultivate is very important, and that using your best materials in that, whether it's your production quality or the content itself is what adds to that. And these people don't care. They just want to scream whammon is bad and get as many followers and engagement as possible. And outrage baiting for men is very simple. We don't really require that much, production quality. It doesn't have to look pretty for us to get a rage boner about, how bad women are and how they're, ruining the West for future generations.
The master Machiavellian overlords or stupid emotional bobbleheads, depending on which one makes her look worse at the time. It's such like a weird bizarro world thing. We used to like make fun of chicks for this stuff, and now we're just the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, everybody thinks that women are either Cleopatra or Belle Delphine, nothing in between, and that's really not the way that it is. And I would posit that Belle Delphine's probably smarter than Cleopatra was at the time.
Oh, easily.
But
she's got the marketing down.
Oh, most certainly. She's got an army of simps that do anything for her, and she's figured out exactly how to trigger their interest and how to continue to stay relevant. And
I still every month or two in my head, I'll just randomly remember that I don't really watch her stuff, but she had this one where she was licking whipped cream off of raw chicken, and I can't get that image out of my head ever.
Yeah,
it's like she's really good at marketing.
That's a lot. That's a lot of disgusting, cross contamination danger there. I mean, it's weird. It's like, well, who am I triggering here? I'm triggering my Jewish audience, my germaphobes, my basement dwellers.
The guys who were raised on like that MXC Japanese game show who just like watching people get messed up.
Yeah, exactly. What kind of body gore type of stuff are you going to get into? I mean, what was that movie? The Robot.
iRobot or Iron
Giant? No, not iRobot. The Japanese version. It was a body horror film where a guy was continuously turning more and more into a robot as the movie went on.
Is it Gaiden?
Yeah.
Anyways, whatever. I kind of think I remember what you're talking about, but it's on the tip of my tongue.
But what I'm saying though is that certain cultures have, France too. They've kind of embraced in different periods of time this whole body horror, imagery, and how discordant certain things are if you combine like technology and humanity together, or if you just get ultra violent about certain things, and it triggers certain things in certain people. Like, I mean, she's the first content creator I've ever seen where she basically posed her own abduction and rape in the woods,
the kidnapping one.
Right, exactly. So I mean, that type of stuff, it rattles people, but again, she gets engagement like you wouldn't believe, and since it's consensual and with her boyfriend / probably handler, it's not as though a crime is being committed, but you can imagine one being committed, and that's where people are with that type of thing. And from that
perspective, we're not tied to reality right now, more about how we feel about the images presented to us. Say it isn't so.
Oh, I know. Imagine that. I'm a very rational man, Ryan, and I'm a reels before feels kind of guy. You can't rattle me with any of that type of stuff. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, good luck, sir.
Yeah. Well, not only.
Oh, there it is. Tetsuo, the Iron Man. That was the one.
That's it. Yep.
Jeez, that's an obscure reference. I'm impressed. Midwestern man here comes out with like the crazy Japanese gore porn. They had an anime on it too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they may have, but I mean, the original movie is worth watching. And then I like the audition too. That's another good one where a lot of stuff is implied and some of it is shown, but there's an undertone of that guy in that bag's not going to live. That's the whole theme after a certain point in time, and then you see the piano wire come out, and you're like, yeah, this is going to end badly for that dude.
Full Chekhov's gun. Oh, piano wire. I'm going to see that in 10 minutes. Actually, it's funny too, because this isn't really new, and I think you know that, but for the audience, Huey McGill last weekend. By the way, he says hi, and it's good to hear. Good to hear you're doing well.
Good.
Switched on, dude. I was so worried first talking to him, like he's gonna be like a Dave, isn't he? But no, he's good. But he how he does like the sales
he's still in the oil industry, oil and gas, right?
No, that's Bogey, I think.
Isn't that's Bogey 6D. You're right. Yeah.
So he's doing technical sales. He's, I think, VP of sales at wherever his company is, something like that. But the funny part was he starts talking about how he's selling his stuff to clients and dealing with the aftercare. It's the exact same funnel strategy that all these guys, well, the good ones, the professional ones, use. The only difference is his top of the funnel doesn't involve him sticking a piece of technical engineering up his ass to get attention. His is more subtle. But I guess that's the internet, right? You have to amplify everything.
Right. I sell light bulbs. I don't have to shove them up my ass for engagement. Yeah. Yeah, I'd rather be Edison than the circus geek. I mean, that's kind of, if you're using light bulbs as an example, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, you have self-respect and what's the word for it? Dignity.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing.
Dignity. You don't see that much in social media. I mean, dignity kind of goes second to how many people can I either engage or piss off or funnel into my cult, and that's. I think that's more important to a lot of people than anything else. And to someone who doesn't care about anything but money, authenticity really doesn't need to be a big focus. And that's why, you see some of these guys who just pander. I mean, there used to be, you remember Shed Guy who used to tell his audience that he loved them after every stream about.
Oh yeah, where he was the guy we did the video on, making fun of him for being.
Yes.
I remember Shed Boy. Yeah. What the hell was his name?
He's that memorable that I don't remember his name. Somebody in the chat probably remembers, though. It's Mark of Excellence or some horseshit.
It's like had like a Stedman face, but you stretch it out a little bit.
Right. And then at the end of the video, love you guys, man, I love you. Like, dude, no one.
Yeah, I don't think you do.
I like collaborating with people, and we're welcome to Red. Yeah, exactly, Dante. It turns it into Idiocracy, a fucking Costco scene where the fat guy's name tag is a picture of the fat guy on his bib.
Dude, I loved that movie. It's aged so well.
I know. Nobody can read.
You know what gets me on this too? It's not like, you're right. This is all stuff. It's laughable. You can make fun of it. The problem is, like, it's effective. Like, even when I hold my nose and throw out a chick talk, I don't know. Here, you guys in the audience might not know, but I don't like chick talks at all. I don't find those TikToks very funny, but it's like wrestling. Like, I don't actually hate the Ultimate Warrior, but for the sake of the gimmick, I have to. People love them. They love them. They're like, this is great. I feel like, and the meme now is like, you saved my life, coach. But there's other guys in there like, dude, this puts so much together. This is just like my bitch ex-wife. And I'm just like, like, I get why people do it. It just it feels so dirty.
Yes. I think more than anything else, guys, for some reason, because we're problem solvers, are always looking for an explanation or closure to anything. And if somebody can make them mad in short form and show them something that is somewhat relatable to their real life, if they're not switched on yet, or if they're not pulled out, of the Matrix, or however you want to describe it, they're going to revel in the anger. And for some guys, they need that anger to get off their ass and at least lift. But otherwise, it's misplaced, and they're just going to sit there and they're going to circle jerk in that rage for a certain period of time, unless they consume other content, or they pick up a book, or they touch grass. Because I can tell that there's a large segment of guys between 18 and 28. They'd rather break shit at this point. Seriously, they don't want to get laid. They don't want to engage with women or switched on guys. They just want a reason to break shit.
Yeah, they want to light themselves on fire because the bylaw officer knocked over their fruit cart. I get it. It's an Arab Spring joke, by the way, guys. I don't think it's too soon for this.
Yeah. But
the beauty of that is, like,
we've got about 5 years in now. I think we're good. It's like me making Gaetan Dugas jokes at this point about AIDS. You can. And by the way, that's a pseudonym for Ultimate Cad at his later end of his TRP run. So if you ever see
was that when he was Dentine White or Stacy's Mom Loves Me, or?
Yeah, right. I mean, he would intentionally, respawn every 5 to 6 months, and I'd find him really quickly, and he'd be like, "Yeah, man, it's me."
I love that, though, because remember when Archwinger and Wine More Please had their little spat, and he's like, "Hey, if you think your stuff's so good, why don't you delete your account, start again, and see if it's still important, or they just like you for the name?" And he never did it. I think Cad, like, he said he did it because he didn't want his kids to find his stuff, but I'm pretty sure that's why he did it. He wanted to see if he was that awesome.
Right. Well, I mean, like, but geez, the guy who ate it the worst during any of the encounters with the MRP dudes was Red Pill School. No, Red Pill School and Will both. They bought it. I mean, they got baited in on everything having to do with marriage. They got baited in on everything having to do with self-improvement for self-improvement's sake. I mean,
free speech above all, including gatekeeping.
They argue like women, and it's really sad to watch, because it's like, okay, well, you're the founder, or you're like the head mod of this space, and you can't argue your way out of a paper bag. It was bad during certain times.
That's the whole thing. I still liked Whisper. Whisper finally got banned. Human Sock Puppet, they were good off, but I think that's because they have like a harem, like multiple girlfriends at home, the both of them. So at that point, if you can handle 2 or 3 bitches, I think you can handle some internet nerds. Like they actually had frame. Plus, I think they're older too. They were like late 40s.
Yeah, I mean that's like Uncle Vaz, guys who have a great amount of abundance and have made enough money and closed enough deals in their life where they're not going to put up with any dumb bullshit. I mean, they don't need the validation from the new guys in the space. That's the whole point.
Dude, that's such a killer for everybody's space, that pandering validation thing, which is like, what is that, 101 red pill? Don't be seeking validation from people.
Yeah.
Get your worth.
Well, yeah, I mean, but people have hard times with the basics. And I that's one of the reasons why I harp on the basics a lot. Every year or so, I have to say, what does my name even mean? Why am I the Rule Zero dad? What the fuck is Rule Zero? And can you tell me what Rule Zero is in a sentence? And no, it's not the podcast with a bunch of the guys from the space. It means something. It has a deeper meaning than that. And yeah, most of the new guys, they just trying to make shit up, and they're wrong. And then you explain it to them, and they're like, "Well, that doesn't make any sense. I thought the red pill was about the truth." And I'm like, "Okay, well, you're completely off in left field. You're not making any sense right now at all." So,
I love those. I want to oak the alpha male. You're like, what the hell is wrong with you, man?
Yeah.
Who filled your head with this nonsense? Then I'll always I always get like the same, should I name him? Yeah, I always get like a fresh and fit guy who comes in, just jumbling up his metaphors, or it's sometimes, actually, no, the better one is like the Rich to Rolo to me pipeline. Those ones are always good, because at least they're switched on. But yeah, the fresh and fit guys, they just throw out jargon like it's a word soup.
Yeah, early rich guys are lost. They're head up ass. You need to lead with your wallet, guys. And and once they figure out that that's not the way, they do much better. But yeah, you get a guy who's only read Rich's book and watched his videos of him driving around and doing all these rallies with their friends. They sound like North American Tate guys, because they're focusing on the same things. I mean, I almost
want to give wrestling isn't real to those type of fanboys, because that's the same vibe as guys. Like when I was 8, I used to dress up as the Ultimate Warrior and fight my brother who wore like the belt and the Hulkster shirt, but we grew out of it. And you're like, you're 43, dude. Come on. You can't be shaving your head and renting a Lambo and telling me how awesome you are. It's not working.
Right, but again, this is the whole thug life thing versus professionalism aspect of it. Is that some of these guys want to be in a gang? They don't want to work at Lehman Brothers, and they don't understand that, being on your grind and doing the entrepreneurial thing not only isn't appropriate for a lot of people, depending on what their skill set is, but it comes later. I mean, if you're 23 years old and you just got a bachelor's degree in computer science, is it, I got to go out there and get a VC because I've got an app idea? No, man. Maybe you might want to work for somebody for a minute and figure out how the business works from the inside before you go off and do the next Uber or whatever the fuck it is you're trying to do.
Yeah, that's what Carl used to say. Guys should always have to spend, was it 3 years in the military or corporate life before they start doing their own thing, just so they learn what it's like to play with other people.
Yeah,
and learn a little bit of professionalism.
Well, I mean, at least learn, the Gervais principles or the Peter principles. How certain numbers of people within organizations are fucking sociopaths, losers, or management. And that's the thing. The Dilbert stuff. I mean, you can. I don't like Scott Adams, but I mean, as far as how you organize an office, he's not wrong.
Yeah, but he's got experience there. I think that's the difference. His stuff he runs his mouth on now is just, he's got his head up his ass. He's like, everybody loves me. Let me try this one out. Let me tell you about a Trump prediction, sirs. That can go one of two ways, and either way I win.
Well, that's another thing too, is that people confuse, oh geez, their ability to sound authoritative with professionalism. You know,
Oh
because when you're
God,
an
yes.
expert, people people tend to believe that you understand not only systems but how to make money within systems. And I know a lot of people who are excellent at describing it, but they're terrible at actually doing it, or they've never actually done it at all. It's kind of like the Rodney Dangerfield scene in Back to School when he is in Econ 101, and the professor starts talking about a company that builds widgets, makes widgets.
Literally a
And he's like,
hypothetical
okay, well,
example. It's so perfect.
right, right. So he throws out this hypothetical example, and he says, okay, so we have a plant that we need to build for so much money. And he's like, well, how do you know it's that much money? Well, it's just an example, Mr. Mellon. He's like, okay,
Hmm.
well, you don't have the Teamsters in there, and you don't have all these different organizations that you basically have to grease the palm of in order to get any of this stuff done. And he's like, I don't want to be in this room where you give these examples of all this corruption and whatever. And he's like, yeah, you've never actually built anything, you've never run a business, and you're trying to tell these kids how it is to do these things from a theoretical perspective. And this ties back to I guess my greatest tweet of all time, that guys deal with women in the abstract. Well, they also deal with their personal and professional lives in the abstract a lot of times, because they don't talk to people who are experienced in doing any of these things. So yeah, I want to start a business. Oh, okay, we'll go get an SBA loan, and find a brick and mortar and order your stuff and swing around your open sign and invite people in. It's that easy. Or even better, online. I've got this product that I'm just going to mainline to you, and I'm going to have them send it directly from China straight to your door. It's the greatest thing
Ah, the
since
drop
sliced.
shipping.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I mean, so there's all these different, I can't call them schemes, because I mean they're real, but ways to try and make money that have been so saturated at this point. Between like that and copywriting was big. I think, oh,
Hmm.
I do all of this copyright work for these different people online. Okay, well, what does that
10 grand a
consist?
month you can make.
That's right. Well, what does that consist of? Buy my Gumroad book, and I'll tell you all about copywriting. It's like you need to pay to play in order to pay to play with these
Hmm.
guys. It doesn't make sense, because either the information is there or it isn't, and you're going to teach somebody how to run a business, or you're running a business off from the prospect of somebody possibly learning how to run a business. And
And I
those are
get
two
that
different.
because, like, on theory, it works. Here's the problem I have with it. If they have like the Gumroad course, and the idea is you're collecting all this stuff that you could research it yourself, but you'll save X amount of hours, then it's easy to do an opportunity cost benefit analysis. If I can save 12 months of time on this Gumroad course versus this, and my company can grow by this much, then it's worth the price. But that's the problem, is that all those variables are unknowable. Like, I don't know how much revenue a company can make until I try running it. You can guess, but it's never right.
Right. and
Especially with
and
like online businesses, because they're so weirdly scalable. Like what I make versus what Rich Cooper makes versus what Anthony Johnson makes. Like, you have a range between $100 and $1 million a year, sir. Good luck.
yeah.
How do you
Well,
even calculate that?
well, yeah, I understand that. I mean, you can show examples of other people's success, and
Hmm.
if they are honest about it. But that's the
They're
thing,
not.
is that I don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that people are reliable narrators in many cases when it comes to these things. And we had discussed this before.
Hmm.
The lack of expertise, and the fact that you can sometimes take shortcuts by paying for it. When I wrote that one post in the Married Red Pill about not hating Bob Vila, I got run
I
up the
still
flag.
like that one.
I got run up the flagpole, because I said, "Look, a lot of you are retarded, and there are people out here who are have already done the work, and they're willing to, for a price, give you some insight on how you can get off from square one. And you can't monetize the truth. Paying for this information when it's all free is just dishonest. What are you talking about, Chesty?
Isn't it crazy how quickly everybody turned into a fucking communist after the whole like every man is an island speech for 4 years?
Yeah, I mean that's part of the issue, is that everybody is an island, but at the same time, we got to just share and cloister this information amongst ourselves. And that's the thing. But I'm gonna let.
Having said that, most of those predictions, I think, between all of us back then did come true. The idea that marketers are going to take over because they're good at getting attention, but the idea people or the experienced people, they're going to be left behind. And for the most part, I'd say it's true, with like the exception of, like guys like us, because we're like, okay, we understand both sides. And granted, this is a small, critically undervalued channel, which I like, but at least it's better than if I just avoided all red meat. But I think that was because the same thing, the notes. Guys like you, guys like Huey McGill, over 60, Stupid Loner, or Fire Tempered, I guess they call him now. All those guys had like insight and stuff. Johnny Apocalypse, another great example. Or Rodney, the breathe through your balls guy. Like there's always a solution for things, but for some reason people stop thinking, well, like this process of swapping notes works so well with my wife. They don't think, well, maybe I can try this on the business side of things too. How can you make yourself a viable online scalable business or offline business using those same grifter tools without being grifty about it? Seems like a solvable problem to me anyway.
Well,
I think everybody's so...
Yeah, it is a solvable problem, but the thing is that people don't want to learn what the solution is. And that's the issue, is they just want it all to happen organically because they're, mom's special boy.
I just want them to get it.
Yeah. I mean,
we're such chicks.
Yeah, you are. I mean, it's just, I just want people to understand my point of view, and I just want to be liked by dudes, which is kind of strange. But at the same time, though, it is a business model that requires a certain amount of competency. And if you don't know what you're talking about, if people attempt to do the dumb shit that, some of these people say, they just come off looking, like les retards. And that's not what we want, you to look like when you're out there just trying to interact with people. And this is a square one type of thing for most people. Yeah, if you can't go through life just reasonably, acceptable to other people in the way that you behave and the way that you present yourself, I mean, you've got a really big hole to dig yourself out of. And professionalism helps with that, because then, you say to yourself, this is the image that I'm going to present to the rest of the world, and I'm going to be consistent about it. And this is something that I'm crafting for myself, not, necessarily for the benefit of others. But, they always used to say, dress for the job that you want, not for the job that you have. And now people want to dress for bed, when they go to work half the time. It's like, what job do you want? I want to sleep all day. That is the job that I want in the very end.
I wish you luck, sir. Then don't ask for the lobster.
Right. And that's the thing is, why do I have to wear a jacket and tie in this restaurant? Because we care about the image of this restaurant. You look like shit. So,
this restaurant has a no world star hip hop theme to it.
Well,
you're going to love it.
Some of them do, unfortunately. I mean, there have been so many just out and out weird ass brawls and steakhouses in Miami. You'd be surprised.
Well, not in Miami, but Miami doesn't surprise me. I've been there a few times. I'm like, I get it.
Yeah, nothing surprises me in Miami. It's basically just a free for all of. Yeah. If you took like I don't know.
I say it's San Francisco plus Cuba.
Yes, San Francisco plus Cuba plus too warm equals Miami. Correct.
I never thought it would be the day that everybody would like, it was better when it was the cocaine funneling town. well, now that they got rid of the coke, this place is a shithole.
Well. See, that's the thing, is that everybody is so image conscious, but they don't have the
Image
acculturation
awareness.
behind it. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, look at it this way. I mean, anybody can wear a Rolex. All
Mm-hmm.
right, but how did you get it? Why are you wearing it? What does it signify to you? I mean, if it's just a crypto floss or something that you have because you wanted it, then fine. But if you have it because you need to impress other people wherever it is in your community, and that's one of the ways that you can do it, and it's some weird flex. I mean, it's just like anything that's branded, and normally it's women who are covered head to toe in brands. I mean, they're doing it
Gullible.
because they just want to show that, well, it's part of it's gullibility, but part of it is also they want to purchase a lifestyle that they can't necessarily afford otherwise. And
But that's the weird thing, though. Purchase status. Is that like an American specific, or like, I guess now Canadian too, because we're technically sort of America? But that purchase status, because it seems like Europe doesn't have that problem. People understand status isn't a purchasable thing. Like, there's like, what is it? They were saying there's like British royalty that are basically broke, but they have the family castle kind of stuff, right?
well, sure. I mean, if you talk to Mish too, it's the same way with the Saudi royal family too, or any of those, where some of the princes aren't incredibly wealthy either, even though they all share in the oil revenue.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that some people are better at investing it or doing whatever, or they're in a certain portion of the pecking order where they get just a larger share of everything. But the status is conveyed by the titles most of the time in Europe. That's part of it. See, in the U.S., we've never had, and we actually have almost criminalized, the use of titles for individual people. I mean, that's
Actually, that's
why.
true. It's technically
Yeah,
illegal for your military to accept like a knighting or any of that stuff from Europe.
correct. Yeah. Any honorariums of any kind where you changed name or status based on it being, bestowed upon you by a head of state. So, like here in the U.S., there's always the argument, at least in my profession, of whether or not you can use, Esquire at the end of your name to signify that you're an attorney, or that you've had a certain amount of education in the law, because Esquire it's a title. It's a title of nobility. And there are people who use it, and they throw the JD there on the end of it and everything
Which
else.
one's
Like
JE?
JD,
Oh, JD is.
the Juris Doctor. Uh, that's the that's the degree. So
Wow.
I'm such and such JDBA Esquire, and then if I go online and I marry a couple of people, I can throw Reverend at the front. So I'm Reverend Chesty BAJD Esquire. I sound like a guy who's raising money at 3 a.m. asking grandma to touch the screen, with her hand, and send me $50 for some anointing oil or some bullshit.
Oh,
Uh,
100 Huntley Club action on that. I like it. I like it. Oh, it's a
yeah.
Canadian reference. That's our 8 in the morning, I don't want to go to school evangelical show we used to watch. Yeah. Same thing.
Yeah.
Like, I got a CD at the end of my name, and I don't like using it. I sometimes use it as a joke, but it just feels pretentious. Kind of like, because Twitter's ruined me for that. Every time I see somebody with an MD or PhD, I just know their takes are dog shit, and they're just trying to sell you on that status. It looks no different to me than shoving a sock down your pants before a date, or talking about your Rolex or your Bugatti or your Lamborghini. It's this weird. Here's what gets me. The purchase status, I get the intent. I want to show you that I'm better and I'm deserving of your respect or fear or adoration or whatever adjective you want to throw in there. The part that I see, though, is it's like, here's my attack vector. Here's the thing I'm sensitive about. And so if you want to make me cry, you got to shit on this.
Right.
And that's the part that gets me, because and then obviously it's the internet. If you let the internet know you have a weakness, they'll drive a truck through it. The only reason it's not more pronounced is because most people on the internet are also autistic, and so they aren't aware of that subtext. So I guess that's almost like a
Well,
safety mechanism.
yeah. Putting your credentials out there though also gives you the less vulnerability that comes with credentialism. And there's a lot of people out there who are very big into credentials, and also will fall for appeal to authority type arguments if those people ever engage in some type of discussion online. And many of them don't. They just talk at you and they won't talk with you because they don't want to expose the fact that, yeah, my PhD is in education and I'm talking about COVID right now and I have no fucking idea what pharmacology is, but Dunning-Kruger compels me to fucking talk about shit I know nothing about and try and appear as though I'm an expert on everything.
Dude, I actually have like a specific person in my head I'm thinking of. After, like, not him, but when I was talking with David Lay, a couple of his like psych buddies started following me for a bit, and it was the same thing. Like a psychiatrist, now he's talking about COVID medicine, and I did exactly what you said. It's like, and he was bitching about people outside of his outside of their expertise opining about stuff. I'm like, you mean like a psychologist talking about infectious disease?
Yeah.
And he just blew right through it with like more Dunning-Kruger. Well, he's educated. It should be obvious. I'm like, is it really? But then he blocked me, so I mean, it's typical.
Yeah, because you called him on his bullshit. You basically you threw up his blind spot right in his face. It's like, oh, okay, so you recognize the fact that some people that don't have the education to opine on a subject are now opining on it in oodles and gobs. Yeah. Dipshit, you're doing the same exact fucking thing on a different subject. Why can't you see that? I mean, because you're special and different. You have the ability to see the obvious as
Chesty. Chesty, if you went through what I went through, if you went through all that hardship of studying on Friday instead of partying and sleeping with girls, then you would be as smart as me and you'd make these same decisions. You just don't understand.
Oh, yeah, I guess I don't.
Yeah. Let me explain something to you about hardship, sir, because clearly you've had a sheltered life.
Oh, I have. That's right.
But here's the thing about credentialism I love too.
Yeah, until you actually experience shelters, don't discuss sheltered lives.
Fair.
That would
I always hate that too. I can't bring up any hardship because you just come in and like Uno reversal, like you and goddamn S-curve.
Oh yeah, well S-curve. I mean, he's literally the child of a refugee from communist Eastern Europe. So
I know it's like. The victim Olympics for our side of the fence is like who had it worse and managed to make something of themselves. All right, fine.
I know. Oh, I know. I wish I would have complained more. Maybe I would have received all those kudos of doing nothing and bitching about it instead. But
the credentials. That's the thing. You know what I love about that though? Because you know how nobody likes taking responsibility for anything. That's why things are failing. As long as it's nobody's fault, that's cool. The credentialism people, they like that because they can opine on something, have their PhD in science. Let me tell you about science. And if they're wrong, it's not their fault. Oh, it's the credentials was wrong. The science was wrong, but we updated it. So it's not my fault. If anything, I did you guys a favor by being so absolutely wrong that dunking on me fixed the problem.
Well,
I remember, last psychiatrist, he talked about that in the credentialism for, like, there was some, like, psychiatry annual checkup thing. He goes, nowhere in this 400-page questionnaire exam do they even talk about Xanax, the most prescribed, Xanax or Adderall. Like, 90% of your job is handing these pills out to children, and we don't even talk about it. So what good are these credentials?
Well, and that's part of the thing is that a lot of times people once they get the credential, once they get the the placard and the robe and the hood, they stop learning on the subject because they feel as though they've made it. And the thing is if you're really good at your profession, you would be doing continuing education in whatever field that you're in. That's another thing about professionalism is the person who updates their their knowledge base on a regular basis. Do they continually go to classes? Do they do stuff when it comes
to
they
have an interest in it?
Organizations. Well, I mean, it is interesting though, because you want to be on the cutting edge of information. You don't want to be the guy who others laugh at because he's peddling stuff that was avant-garde in 1985 but has been proven to be false since then. I mean,
that's like when you were telling me old Enron accounting practices. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I was digging into the Celsius bankruptcy petitions, and part of their first day motions was basically a document to allow them to essentially do business as usual and use some of the cash on hand for certain things. And one of their justifications was a citation to Enron, and where the court basically said, and this is true that the court rule says that absent any other reason, if you're in a Chapter 11 in the beginning stages, the debtor in possession, the company that's going under, has a right to continue to operate the company, and as it sees fit, because they haven't changed boards yet, and they haven't been given any direction by the court on how to do things differently. But I just think it's funny, though, that why would you use Enron as your citation? Because it signals the wrong thing. I get it that particular portion of the law is discussed in that case, but yeah, there are plenty of others you could have cited too that are more recent, that say the same exact thing and don't signal that we're assholes that helped run Enron into the ground.
I know. It's literally the crypto version of people who keep making references to the Austrian painter every time they want to win an online argument. The counters with the Enron.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. And we've got this charismatic leader, and he's going to lead us through this. Yeah, well, these are the attorneys that he hired, and and they're referencing Enron. Think about this for 2 seconds before you praise the guy or denigrate anything. So.
Yeah, but Trump, same thing. Everybody must have loved Trump. I remember Wine More Please when he showed that video where he's like, this is where I thought I liked Trump. Do you remember that time in California where he was riding his convoy and a bunch of protesters blocked all the Secret Service trucks? He just got out and walked the last mile to the convention. He's like, fuck it, we're going. And I was like, work ethic wise, that's a pretty good statement. He's not afraid to get his hands dirty. And I know it's a small gesture, but it was a good one. But at the same time, who did he have in his corner fighting for him? The only guy that seemed to have his best interest at heart was Bannon, I think. Well, sort of. Bannon just wanted America first, but.
Well, he has enough to avoid and protect that he was just convicted of contempt of Congress for not appearing for the hearings on January 6th. So he has his own crosses to bear with that type of stuff, and Lord knows he just doesn't want to incriminate himself on money making or whatever he did in connection with that. Because
was he in the Lauren Southern manifesto? Let's shelf that for a bit. That's going to be funny, but let's a whole section. I kind of like how we're talking about business and deliberate action and proper identity and professionalism for now. And we'll save the red meat for the end.
Yes. But that's the thing, though, is when we're talking about professionalism and updating your knowledge base and those types of things, once you're credentialed, nobody knows really what you're doing behind the scenes. You're not really held accountable except by yourself or maybe by whatever board it is that governs your particular specialty. So if I'm an attorney, once I get my JD and I hang up my shingle and I start practicing law, there's nobody who holds me accountable to update my legal knowledge, even though it's changing all the time, than me. So in order to be an expert, you actually have to be an expert. And that's different. And the only way you can really do that is to demonstrate, your ability to know things over a period of time and
act in non-verba.
Yeah, get out there and win and lose a few cases. So that's what you need to do.
But that's the thing with the internet, you can't do that now, which is scary from my perspective. I cannot believe I'm turning into the old dude from the 70s who's like, I don't trust them doctors. But because it used to be doctors, lawyers, you would automatically expect, because they have the MD or the JD or whatever, a baseline level of care. At this profession, you're going to get this. I don't think that's there anymore. There's doctors peddling absolute garbage. The prescriptions they give aren't because they researched the drugs. It's because a pharma rep came in and sold them on it with marketing sheets, not even research papers,
Well, pharma reps are hot, man. If you've seen the majority of them, they're all girls with a BS and a smile. Who walk into these different places with you know, a couple of coupons for free dinners to places, or they'll cater lunch. I mean, I've seen it many times where, you'll be in the middle of a doctor's appointment for something. I need to go in for a blood draw. Well, okay, well, it's lunchtime. And all of a sudden you see all this catering come in, and the pharma rep come in behind with a bunch of bags for, for whatever statin or cholesterol drug they happen to be pushing that week. And that's the business. I mean,
it's bloodletting and leeches for the 21st century. What can I tell you?
Well, it's not even that. It's that the more leeches you use, the more free lunches we'll give you, and we'll give you cruises and kickbacks. At the end of the fiscal quarter, if you sell enough of it or prescribe enough of this shit.
As well as the plausible deniability to say that the ends justify the means. Oh, I'm taking this stuff because it's free, but this is really a good idea. And they're filling their head with that nonsense. I see that in the sphere too. How many guys are promised, dude, this is the way to make a bunch of money. Here's how to do your marketing funnels. Make up, rent your Lambo, like all these lies, all this bullshit, just running your mouth about nothing. And I know for a fact you guys can think of at least one or two people specifically I'm talking about here. I won't name them, but you'll know. And they're like, that's fine. I make all this millions of dollars and I convince myself I'm saving lives, even though I'm not. I'm just a clown entertaining. But it sounds good. And I won money, so it must make me a better person. But you're right. They miss all the professionalism aspects of it, all of the actual interest in what you're talking about. I think Rollo talks about the slow money versus fast money. Like, I get it. But I think that's the problem, though. Like, because you have money. You earn enough. You don't have to worry about shit. Just running your firm and do whatever. And me, I don't have to worry about money. I got my pension. I got this thing is doing fine. But a lot of guys, those desperately poor ones that, what do they call them? Disenfranchised millionaires. They have no shame, no depths they won't strive to, no lies they won't convince themselves of. And the smarter a desperate guy is, the more dangerous they are. And I think that's where we are now. 8 billion people on Earth with internet connection. The most dangerous, desperate people are now disordered. Like, more of them are in the sphere, basically, than digging ditches. And that's kind of scary.
Well, yeah, I mean, not everybody is, Cardano or, some of these different guys who are bigger, shillers than others that are even outside of the manosphere to a certain extent. Cernovich is a great example. Another guy who just sell anything to anybody for any reason. I mean, I think that if it were up to him, he would like to be, Sonny Corleone or, one of the Corleones or fucking Scarface and just sell drugs all day, legally or illegally, so long as he could make the money from it and be left alone. At this point, I think that would be his like dream come true. But now he has his head stuffed so far up the wrong, political views ass, and then he has to guerrilla mindset on top of all this shit. His business model doesn't know whether it's coming or going, and that's what can happen in this space too, is that you can get pigeonholed and you can trap yourself into a weird stereotype that you can't get out of. I mean, the
dreaded lolcow. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the space has a lot of lolcows, unfortunately. I mean, Mini Tate, fucking
is he still a thing?
Joe Lampton? Hell yeah, he's still a thing.
Oh, yeah, that's funny.
He's still a thing, sure. But the thing is that
fucking guy.
Those people, they paint themselves into a corner, and they have to continue to perform the same dancing monkey routine for those who purchased things before. And that's why, the slow money versus fast money thing is, because if you make fast money at something that is controversial, you're just going to have to ramp it up every time you want to make a new batch of money. You have to become either more controversial, or you have to, get these bitches more drunk on more White Claws with more, just nonsense, She brought a gun on the set.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That shit, yeah. And the worst part, too, is I think when you get to that level, I've seen it, when you get to that level, other people want to leech off your success. And so they're just yes men. They tell you exactly what you want to see. And so there's no grounding effect at all. You've alienated all the people who are honest. I'm going to use a Hunter example. Do you remember, I think it was just before your Bob Vila post, where Hunter was talking one of his just like standard essays, this is where you turn your wife into your whore or something like that. And everybody's like, this doesn't say shit. And you guys were kind of calling him out on it. And then Wine More Please put up that video where Anthony Johnson sicked those dogs on him to show him how to be a man. Funniest thing I've ever seen. The fucking dogs got me, bro. And they're sitting there shooting at the targets and all that. And over 60, like fire tempered. He's like, it's not about the message. He was basically telling him, like stop being a clown.
Right.
But he just wasn't catching on. Fuck, I don't remember where I was going with this. I just got so up laughing about the dog attack. Dude, if you ever tried to get me on a collab, it's like, yeah, we're going to sick some dogs on you in one of them big bear suits. I'd be like, oh, fuck yourself. I got a reputation to think of here.
Yeah.
But yeah, where can you go? Where can you go from there? It's like you said, you can't go anywhere from there.
Right. That's the thing. I mean, a dwarf in protective gear with a fucking helmet on getting mauled by 5 German shepherds.
Yeah, protecting your family, of course.
Well, protecting your family, yeah. I don't understand that move either. I mean, the best way to protect your family from dogs is to get them indoors. I mean,
Get them indoors, move it to a nicer neighborhood where they don't have pit bulls. There's all kinds of things you can do that aren't as flashy or embarrassing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think, though, that the space is kind of bifurcating into theoretical spurgs and challenge coin people. And that is
challenge coin.
Oh yeah. Every time you complete some type of task or you show up at an event or something, everybody's exchanging all of those stupid medallions with one another. Like this is from my time in such and such a place. And you're part of my brotherhood now. So here's a fucking coin.
I still have Texas coin when he gave that to me in 2018.
See,
which is funny because I got it beside my like real military coins and medals and that. And I was like, it seems a little weird. I threw it in my Taekwondo medal box from like college.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I got a challenge coin the other day from the veterans portion of a golf tournament I helped organize. I mean, it's just some of the most mundane shit. Yeah. Yeah.
Is it at least like a small enough coin you can use it for as a marker, or is it like the full on silver dollar size?
No. It's it looks like a full on silver dollar and twice the thickness, and it's relief cut, with all of this different information on it, and it's got a flag on one side and a golf tee on the other. It's just
sophisticated hooker is what it sounds like.
Well,
no, you're a real man. Here's your coin.
Right. Yeah, pretty much. And, and if you go into a lot of military-owned establishments now, you'll see all of these fucking challenge coins, like up at the front desk or something. And, where they kind of got them set up either, in a frame or, just kind of out there on an easel where they're all leaning in their little individual spots. And I'm like, I don't understand this. I understand that people are interacting with one another, and this is a way to show that. But, yeah. There's no affiliation there. If I just show up for 2.5 hours with somebody and all of a sudden like, you earned my respect, sir. Here's
the veneration is a bit much.
Yeah.
Don't gold plate the shit.
Well, not only that, but veneration at this point and acceptance is coming at a very, very low entry point and a very, very low cost of entry too, which is making it even stranger. You would think that people would gatekeep their hobbies and their social groups stronger than ever, but they're not. But
yeah. Well, and I put this up because I don't think you guys are drawn. Like, we're getting to that. That's the point. All of this stuff, basic, bare bones, 101 red pill. It's all validation seeking. It's all, instead of simping for a girl, you're simping for a dude, which is way worse in my opinion. And not only that, it's cheap. Like, imagine that somebody gives you your wish fulfillment with like a $2 trinket. And that's all it takes for you to identify your masculinity with them. Like, right. How cheap is that?
Yeah,
it's like the 50-cent hooker. I'll suck your dick for $1. 50 cents.
Yeah, deal. Right. In this case, I'll call in. I may ask to call in a favor for a $2.50 goldish base metal, coin that you exchanged at some meetup in the middle of the woods somewhere.
Yeah.
It's this, and I heard somebody else describe it as the airsoft. Yeah, as the airsoft culture too.
They can't even use the old pewter pellets like a real man. Catch one of those in the eye. You gotta use the plastic ones.
That's
But
right.
no, yeah, for the business one, same thing. I see a lot of guys, they want to do an online business, or like they even want to be lawyers. I think you point out the occasional dipshits who try to practice law but suck at it so bad. It's all validation. I don't want to run a business. I want to be the guy, the identity of a business owner, which is totally different. Because anything you do that goes against that, if you have to make like a choice that has some cost but ultimately long-term benefits, you're not going to make that if business owner or entrepreneur is your identity, or if I'm the big shot lawyer. You're not going to do some like drudgery, like bankruptcy law, I'm assuming isn't a very glamorous legal part of the profession, not as much as like criminal law, right? Or suing the evil landlord like Captain Planet or some shit. You correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not the best with law stories, mostly because I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, bankruptcy can be incredibly boring or incredibly interesting, depending on how deep you get into it and how weird some of the cases you're involved in.
Yeah.
I mean,
but does it make good dinner party stories is what I'm getting at.
Sometimes it does. I mean, I had one situation where a guy tried to hide like 130 classic cars in a large Quonset hut, in the middle of
Jay
the
Leno?
woods.
Cool.
Kind of, yeah, but more like hoarder doesn't take care of his shit type Jay Leno, but same thing where he had all of these different things of value that he just thought he was smarter than everybody else, and he just hide shit. All you need to do is take a drone over the property and see, oh, there's this big back building, about 50 yards into the woods. Maybe we might want to check and see what's inside of there. So,
dude, I love that. Yeah. Lawyers are like women. They may not have like the intelligence to be as smart as you, but they have enough experience that you can't pull shit on them because somebody else has tried it already. Always.
Yep. Yeah, and crime isn't really that nuanced. I mean, if somebody wants to try and get away with something and they think that they're either smarter than everybody else in the room or that they can blunt force it through by their personality.
The good old, you can alpha the court. Like, no, you can't.
No, you can't alpha the court. The court don't care. You might be able to alpha some people in jail, but that's different.
Well, I remember that was my Yanis Fiamengo, that MRA chick there. She had one of those videos where the 97th richest Canadian had to pay like 50 grand a month for child support. And I look at this, I'm like, it seems so stupid on its face. I'm like, I gotta look into it. I look into it. And it turns out he was lying to the court, and they filed against him. It's because it's common law here, right?
Right.
If you tell somebody that they're your wife, if you act like they're your wife, if you promise things, you move them in, then as far as the courts are concerned, it's common law. And now it's less legal liability than if you're full on married. But what he tried to do during the separation is like, oh no, that was just a plate. And then she brought up all these examples where he bought her a ring, and he told and like brought all of his friends out. And it wasn't so much that he was common law and tried to get out of it. It's that I guess the courts really don't like it when you flat out lie to them. And so that really worked against him. And so these payments were almost like a general deterrent as opposed to like jurisprudence. But then you see it go through the little manosphere thing. Yanis Fiamengo, like, oh, this is why men are screwed over, and that's why a chick's going to take half your assets. And then, luckily, at least like Rich, I showed it to him, and he at least looked into like the case itself. So he was smart about it, and me too. And I realized like, there's the lesson. Everybody here is telling you their grand legal opinion, but nobody's going to the source to look things up. And now you're getting bad legal advice. Like, don't get married. Sure. But the reason they're giving you is absolute bullshit. And if you follow their advice, you're going to end up doing something stupid. Like, I don't know, I'm clever enough to lie to the courts and get out of this arbitration thing with this bitch ex-wife of mine.
And this right here should be a prime example of why you shouldn't allow women to co-opt your movement for any reason. I mean, well, if
women ain't shit.
Right. If any of those MRAs were worth, a pube on their ball sack, they would have checked her. they would have said, "Look, Janice, yes, we love the fact that you know are out here advocating for us, but you know on this particular matter, you're completely full of shit. You
So,
know,
yeah, you're not
please
helping.
please explain yourself. You're not helping. Don't put yourself out there as a representative for the rest of us. Because we don't necessarily agree with you, particularly when you're lying about things. You
Mm-hmm.
know, don't be disingenuous on our behalf." We got Paul Elam for dumb shit like that. We can suck on our own. So that doesn't it doesn't require a proxy with tits to put across a bad argument. That's how I would look at it. I mean, between her and all of the other ladies who represent the MRAs at this point, I mean I think we just fucking given up and said, hey, look, if we're going to be bad feminists, we might as well have women speak for us completely on all of these issues.
It's all validation, right? And
Yeah, again, it's like a woman didn't touch my dick, but boy, she sure touched my heart and my purpose.
I am so
Isn't
tweeting that
that
quote
great?
if you don't do it. Oh my god, that's gold. But you see, guys, like we're trying to draw connections here because you can see it happening. And here's the thing: everybody's like, Chesty, how can you guys see the future in this stuff? It's like you can't. Problem is, people aren't very different. Like you said, like criminals aren't very clever. There's only so many ways to do things, and so you see this same process 500 fucking times and people falling for it 500 fucking times. You look
Well,
like a
it's
goddamn. That's
yeah.
like Jesus. He could just see it coming. It's like, of course they could. The car's coming down the road. Step aside, or you're gonna get hit. How do you know? Trust me. Just trust me.
Well, but again, Ryan, it's not just that we're dealing with cycles because
Mm,
we're getting back to like the business aspect of things and investing and that type of thing. That there are always going to be booms and busts and just about anything that comes in direct contact with your life if you happen to live long enough.
yeah.
So right now we're experiencing the late 70s all over again, when it comes to real estate and everything else. Yeah, see, he gets it. I mean, we're out here trying to promote Rule Zero. Men's health, sexuality, getting laid, and we have women out there who are trying to speak on our behalf, and we're more wrapped up in our feelings than getting felt up.
Yeah.
And that's a problem because it puts the cart before the horse. I mean,
I'd say
there's a
it's
certain
like the theatrics of it, the kayfabe of it. It's like
yeah,
it's literally pro wrestling. It's literally
yes,
pro wrestling.
it is pro wrestling at this point. And the thing is that a lot of the major guy players in the MRA space are all managers now. They don't wrestle anymore, and that's part of it. So it's turned into women's wrestling on behalf of men. So we're the women are keeping kayfabe for all the dudes. Um,
And that's
and
the
how
thing
the
too, though. Once you get to that kayfabe, it becomes that's where the tribalism stuff comes in. So, like for example, that Yanis Fiamengo thing. Instead of gatekeeping a space because you're worried about codified knowledge or like a body of work or the organization in the abstract, instead of trying to keep that useful, not pure but useful, you end up focused more on the image of it. And I remember who was it that said it was like
it's
doctors. Oh yeah, doctors.
yeah,
If a doctor gives a dog shit medical opinion, other doctors would rather defend him than sell him out because
yes.
they want to have the image of like we're above all you guys. We are the gatekeepers of knowledge. We're the muses of the 21st century, as opposed to like this medicine better be like hearing us needs to be solid.
Yeah,
And I don't. Yeah,
it's painting your tool shed pink simply for the purposes of more people wanting to look at your shed. And that's the thing is that if we're looking at things amorally, that this is a set of tools.
hmm
I don't care if you're a few tools inside of the shed to have a pink handle on it, but
yeah,
when everything is turned pink and there's Glade air fresheners and fucking throw pillows everywhere, you've kind of lost the message. You're now more into how your message looks than necessarily the meat and bones, of
yeah. You're
what it
curating
is.
your image. You're not trying to build anything.
Right, and that's the thing. The MRA space started with a terrible image. I mean, Mad Santa is not a very good representative of anything having to do with sympathy. You know, so what are you? I'm a fucking possible, you know, struggle hugger trucker, you know, who ran away from my kid and failed to pay child support. But, you know, look to me as a victim in all of this. Okay,
Yeah.
Paul, you know, everybody knows your history. There's no victimhood there. You're a dick for the most part. And that's the thing is you can't have people who are, you know, so personally flawed making these types of arguments. So what do? Well, you know, you get Cassie J and Janice and, you know, the other gray-haired woman with glasses from Canada to start talking about shit on your behalf. And you can soften up the messenger while trying to preserve the message, and then nothing gets done, because then if it all sounds like chick speak and feminism from a guy's perspective. And that has always been the thing. It's like, well, we just need a little bit more, you know, awareness of the problems. No, everybody can cite the statistics. I mean,
everybody does horribly, but they did it.
Right.
They do.
Right. You don't have to be fucking Aaron Clary to understand the statistics of, you know, marriage and divorce. You know, the 80% stat, the 90% stat. You know, the states that are no fault divorce states, you know, all of that type of stuff. It's all well known. Anybody can look it up at any time and they can figure it out. But what they can't figure out is why do these marriages fail?
Yeah.
and
that's, the stuff behind the statistics. Thing. Yeah. But you have to have experience for that. You have to gatekeep that, because if somebody's very silver-tongued and they're saying bullshit, and you don't have the experience to check them on it, then it's just a popularity contest. But if you do have the experience to check them on it and you're worried about image, then you don't do it because you think the ends justify the means. So it's like, no, she's bringing awareness, and then they come here, we'll figure it out. And, you know, what's that thing about the path to hell, good intentions, that kind of shit?
Yeah, so are we going to start on Lauren Southern now? It's kind of like a segue, but no, we don't need to do that yet. No, I mean, but that's like the Milo Yiannopoulos, you know, theorem of everything. Right there.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm a complete piece of shit. You know, I'm gay today, straight yesterday, gay again, straight again. You know, has no moral or you know, social compass or professionalism whatsoever. He doesn't pay his fucking bills. So I mean, you end up trying to be an apologist for somebody like this, and you end up looking like a fucking idiot, because
and rightfully so.
Well, they never do the right thing. That's the thing, is that, you know, sometimes you have to be consistent, and, you know, and oh my God, you know, imagine that, keep your word on certain things.
Yeah.
Or at least follow through to the extent where you might be able to receive some type of, you know, compensation in the future. I mean, this is the Anthony Johnson problem all over again too, where you can claim to run a business, but you don't pay anybody.
Yeah.
You know, well how
not only that, you slag every guest you've ever had, which is a very clear signal to other potential guests. Like, do I really want this?
Yeah, I mean, what am I going to do to draw the ire of this fucking redheaded dipshit? You know, that's essentially what it boils down to at a certain point. It's like, do I want to risk the image that I've already built, hitch it to this fucking retarded wagon, and hope for the best because I just want additional engagement? I mean, I don't.
The only people who fall for that are desperate or greedy,
right?
Like any con.
Right, exactly. I don't want to grow up to be George Bruno. You know, that's the thing. You know, I mean,
we're hitting all the triggers today. I love it, dude. I love chatting with you. These are awesome. Well, these entertain me.
But the problem is that everybody needs a history lesson every once in a while, because most of the guys in the space have the memory of a fucking goldfish, and they don't understand that all of these same lack of professionalism blunders in both marketing and behavior have consistently occurred in 18-month to a year-long cycles ever since, you know, Rollo Tomasi and a bunch of guys decided to form, you know, the Red Man Group and start podcasting together. And
what a bunch of
that's just the way that it's been. Well, what it did though is it coalesced an idea and it gave other people ideas on how to possibly get out the red pill message. And
Yeah.
you guys do deserve some credit for doing your best to try and
Oh, it's been a learning
you
experience.
know
I'll give you that. There's mistakes
well,
along the
yeah,
way.
well, I mean, oh, sure. I mean, you're trying to disseminate information in such a way as to be both engaging and careful of what you try to teach men who are uncalibrated, angry, and in many cases stupid. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a tough audience to try and drag through. I mean, you've got a lot of uncalibrated 95 IQ guys out there who are
And
just
those are the ones running into the most
trying
problems. So it's like
to
it's by
get their
design.
dick
That's the
wet.
kind of audience you're going to have. No offense, except for you guys.
Yeah,
You guys are switched on because you're listening to Chesty. You're high IQ. Don't worry about
right.
it.
Yeah,
We're talking about the
yeah.
other ones.
Not you, Dante.
Yeah. But here's the thing, too. That's what I was thinking about your cycles. What's the difference between Tate 1 and 2 and Yiannopoulos and Tucker Max and Cernovich? Just timeline and the sophistication of social media at the time, I would argue. It's the same thing. And I don't know, how long did Yiannopoulos last? 3 years? 5 years?
Yeah, at the most, and now he's trying to make a comeback as the reformed formerly gay artist known as Milo.
Yeah, and Tucker tried to reform himself as the family man who sucks up to his wife. And
Yep.
there's always going to be that that time that Michael Jordan came back to basketball after baseball failure. It just didn't quite work.
Well, it wasn't baseball failure. He was told probably to leave the NBA for a while, or bad things were going to happen to him. Because
wait, what?
But anyway, it's his father ended up getting murdered over it. I'm not even going to get into it. But
dude, I got to do some research now.
Yeah, you got to do some research. A lot of Michael Jordan leaving the NBA was more about gamblers and what to expect if you're betting on sports than it was about him losing interest in basketball and wanting to play baseball. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, I need this. This is gonna be this is my jet fuel melt steel beams for the year. I love it.
There you go. There's your conspiracy theory for the
here brain drain. I was gonna bring it up this part where you're talking about with the grifters and that the brain drain. This is the part that gets me. Like, I know if you guys don't know brain drain, I don't know who came up with the term, but I learned it from the military. Turns out when the liberal parties run and win an election in Canada, they always cut funding to the military, and the military ends up cutting their forces. They did that during the Kreichen years. It kind of bottomed out when there was guys in uniform going for like welfare and food stamps because they couldn't afford to eat. And what happens then is all the people who can do anything better with their time, they leave. And the people that stay are the ones that couldn't pump gas for a living without getting fired. And then you have a growth period again, which is what we have under conservative governments. And then all of those people that stuck around are promoted because of attrition. There's like a saying, never trust anybody who got promoted in 1995 to 2000. So in the manosphere reference I'm trying to make for this, you get all of these guys that maybe they do want to save lives, maybe they do want to help people, and then they see they're getting drowned out by, ass models of Instagram selling you on Lambo masculinity. And so they get frustrated and leave, or they join the grift. And this is kind of where my advice of like hating your audience a little bit comes in. Like, be a consultant, realize that your job is the work and the product, not any specific audience metric, because you can't change them. It's like a wife. You can't make her want to fuck you. You can only make yourself more fuckable. And I this is the part that gets me, is because there's people that I've seen that are pretty switched on that would love to do stuff in here, but they don't want to because it looks like such a pile of shit with a bunch of ass models showing their taints into the air, right? And then the ones that try, they end up leaving. Like, there's a lot of channels we've lost. Is Hunter even still around, or is he gone after he tried ass modeling because he gave up on helping or whatever he did? Is he around? Does anybody know? Did I lose you, Chesty? Oh, probably. All right, that's fine. Yeah, and so... Oh, there we go.
No,
I thought I lost you there for a minute.
Yeah. No, I think I'm back. Yeah.
Okay.
Am I good?
Sorry, what were you saying? I missed the last part.
Oh, I said
I can hear you now.
I just don't know what happened. yeah, I just don't know what happened to Zach Small. I mean, I assume he's still on Twitter. I assume he's still, doing his, you know, liminal order of masculine greatness or whatever, fraternal organization of the damned he has
Shed time with Zach.
And yes, whatever, exactly. But the thing that I get most upset about than anything is that people who are good in the space, who would be good for the space, people aren't going to listen to them because they're not outrageous enough. I'm not going to go out there and risk my professional reputation.
Like case in point, I'm talking with that's just I'm talking with an Avi from a 1980s Hughes movie. I could have been talking with real you. If this place had like a better reputation and less ass models, there would be like a real chesty here. Turns out your name would be like Anthony or John or Jonathan or something.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't have to, go behind any type of anonymous stuff or like Carl did or any of that, because we would be risking our professional reputation in many instances, because a lot of what we say is unpopular, and the people who don't like being told the truth about, relationships and human sexuality, they get bent out of shape enough and they have enough time on their hands because generally they're broke and nobody fucking cares. Mm-hmm. They'll go ahead and try and write your workplace or whatever and say, oh, that guy over there, he's on the internet and he's saying things that make me sad. You need to fire him right away. And that's the risk that everybody runs. It's not a question of, is this guy disfigured? Is this going to be a problem with?
Where's those receipts?
Well, yeah, he's got to show us a receipt. Yeah. Check with the master.
No, my receipt. Your receipts are that you're anonymous because you have a career you don't want to lose. There's your receipt. I'm anonymous because I have something.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, okay, you want to be online in order to make yourself into something. I want to stay not known online because I've already built something. Do you understand the distinction? I mean, that's what it boils down to. I just, I've got a wife, I've got, teenagers now, and that's just not something that I'm willing to put out there, and without my even mentioning them occasionally, no one would even know that I have, a wife and kids. I mean, they could go through 3.5, 4 months of my tweets and they're like, well, he just seems like a single guy maybe, or we don't know, somebody's uncle. I don't understand, what the big deal is. And then, but the fact is I own a business, it does very well. I've made a lot of money in my life doing different things other than just the law. I have a wife that makes very good money. Who
apparently make a really good beer too.
Huh?
Apparently you make a really good beer.
I do. at least that one.
Butthurt Hefeweizen, is it?
Yeah, Butthurt Hefeweizen. Yeah, exactly. And maybe if you dare me enough, I'll show up at your place with a beer and middle fingers raised or something. But that's just a unique one-off that kind of happens. So
yeah,
it is what it is. I'm certainly not going to market myself any further. And the fact that I'm going to be pushing up on 4,000 followers on Twitter with zero advertising or other type of engagement other than organic growth is kind of scary. Because I mean, there shouldn't be that much following of anonymous people online. It just
what? You're the married red pill of Twitter. Remember that whole thing we had the beef with the red pill? Their plan was growth at all, like over all else. Say something controversial, shit on Jordan Peterson, make fun of the latest feminist, get on a hit piece somewhere. People come in, which is great, except for you regress to the mean really fast. It's supposed to married red pill, which was more like, no, you got to fit or you're out. Like you're here to work. You're not here to bitch about, equal rights or shit like that. And ultimately, it led to married red pill being a fifth of the size at any given time. But it also wasn't quarantined. It also didn't have like your gay lube oils in there. That guy. If you guys don't know who these people are, don't worry about it. Just pretend like we're shitting on anybody you know. It's the same thing. I don't think there's much difference between Gay Lube Oil and Tristan Tate, except for one of them is successful and one of them sold out for like nothing.
Yeah, one is hawking, friggin' tank tops with Ebola quotes on it, and the other one's got women locked in their rooms. But
I'm wondering about that. Did that just kind of go away? The whole I'm kidnapping women thing?
Hey, so far so good. I mean, if you're in an Eastern European country and you can keep the wheels of justice greased with enough cash, I really don't think anything's going to happen to them.
Fair enough.
But that's
I guess, I mean, I don't understand teenagers nowadays. Like, dude, he's kidnapping women. This shit's lit. Or what are the kids?
What a G.
Yeah, bet. Bet.
Right.
What a G.
Yeah, what a G. That's based.
Yeah.
That's based. He's a based G.
I've never felt old in my life until that moment where I'm like, because I get, like I said, it's all of like the old criminal stuff from my childhood, and I get that now, and I just want to stay far away from it. But all these kids, like, they've been raised in the suburbs, they don't know what bad people are like, and they're like, this is the greatest thing ever. I'm like, you're gonna have to have your drop in the soap moment to learn this one, I guess. Like, I wish you luck, good sirs. I wish you luck.
Yeah, it reminds me though of the late 80s, early 90s though, with the whole, bringing in as much inner city culture to the suburbs as possible just to make a buck, and same thing back then too, I mean, you can't have an album called Fuck the Police go platinum if white kids don't buy it. So,
I'm almost wondering if that time they got arrested for doing the F the Police song was like more scripted or staged than anything.
Who knows? I mean, again, it falls under the Donovan Sharp rubric, all engagement is good engagement. So.
True. Well, yeah, and I found out Ice Cube was like an engineer by trade. I'm like, wait a minute, what? I thought he was slanging rocks. No. He was building. What the hell?
Yep.
But yeah, I guess that's the same as Fresh and Fit, where like he come from a nice, like, middle class immigrant family. He didn't know like shit about black. There's no tie to slavery. Then people are coming in with their thug stuff, and he's like having a crash course on how to be black in America. And I'm going, good luck, sir.
Yeah, especially women thugs, man. They thug out harder than the guys do because because they know very often that there isn't going to be any type of comeuppance for their shit behavior.
Yeah. So, hey, there's that holding accountable thing again.
No such thing.
Hold these bitches accountable. I wish you luck, sir.
There is no such thing as holding bitches accountable. Nothing.
Dude, do you know how many rednecks I've seen growing up lost teeth trying to hold a bitch accountable? It's like, nah, man. You need to hold the biggest guy in the room who wants to sleep with her accountable first. That's how it's going to work.
Yeah, or just ignore her shit behavior. I mean, that's the thing. I don't know what it is about dudes, particularly in this space, who just can't say, that's just a woman being a woman. I'm just going to walk away from this and not give a shit about what she has to say.
Well, it's the anger, right? Like, if you're still angry about something, that means you care.
Well,
and guys just don't have that aloofness. Like, hey, remember that attractive quality we're all telling everybody we have, being aloof?
Yeah.
And getting mad every time a woman rums her mouth?
Yeah, I mean, but that's like you saying often that if you look at a woman complaining about something, it's something that she saw in her ex.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with dudes. You see dudes, getting rage boners online. It's because of something they probably saw with their mom or their sister or some other woman in their life who never paid the price.
My bitch ex-wife used to listen to Usher and dance on camera. God damn it.
Yeah. Or look at these women just seeking attention and getting all of these likes. I can go into a whole entire, diatribe about the wonderful social aspects of, communist culture and all this other continental philosophy stuff. And I get three viewers, on my 4-hour stream. I mean, this isn't fair. Life isn't fair. Yeah. I mean, sex sells. It is never going to go away. I mean, regardless of whether or not you call somebody a thought, there's going to be somebody right behind you who goes, yeah, but she's a hot thought though. And I really enjoy watching her gyrate on screen. So hey.
I never get why it's almost like a professional jealousy. How come she gets to be the ass model and I don't? It's like, well, first off, men have infinite thirst, women don't. Secondly, I don't know if that's such a good thing. Like I make the reference all the time of like women are lied to their entire lives. That's why spinsters are so bitter and angry because they hit the wall and they're no longer hot enough that people want to fuck them, so they don't lie to them, and they start seeing people treat them normal, like they would treat an honest person. Girls stop trying to sabotage them by, oh yeah, you go queen. Like imagine your entire worldview is people lying to you because they want something from you, and then all of a sudden one day the veneer comes off, everybody's honest. I'd be pretty pissed about it too. I think that's like the girl version of being zeroed out. I should maybe give that to Allie. Let her do a trad talk with that and her friends.
Yeah. When do women become invisible?
Ooh, the invisible. I like that.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's basically what it is. As a dude, unless you have some type of very demonstrable talent, you've demonstrated some type of greatness at an early age in either sport or academia, you're going to be invisible between the ages of 15 and 25 for the most part.
Easily. That's bare. That's an optimistic estimate too.
Right.
I would border that a lot bigger.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of times guys, will end up marrying the first or second person who touches their dick in between that period of time as well, because they just don't know any better that there will be times ahead where you will be more desirable, and that your pool of selection will grow as you become a complete person.
Right.
And unfortunately for men, it takes longer to become a complete person than it does for a woman.
I'd argue fortunately, but yeah.
Yeah. Well,
what do they say? Youth is wasted on the young.
yes, for the most part, but dudes don't age that poorly. So I guess we're kind of fortunate in that regard. But if you spend a lot of that time harming your body, either through drugs and excessive alcohol and failure to exercise and that type of thing, you can walk into the prime of your life, with no prime of your life.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where we're seeing a lot of these guys right now. They're 100 pounds overweight. They haven't had a full conversation with sentences with an adult, in years. Nobody says hi to them on the street. They go to work, they come home afterwards, and they're just trying to get by day to day.
And the only one who understands them is Ribby the Frog.
Yeah,
tell them whammon ain't shit, and you're like, yeah,
that's right. Ribby the party frog, man. He's out there saying, these girls are just going to get diseases, and they'll hit the wall, and that will be their comeuppance. And
it's almost like the guy version of everybody's lying to you. Like marketers are lying to you. Incels have become like a brandable demographic, which is crazy. 30% of men aren't having sex. What do you want to do about it? Well, if we can get them to join our war room, I can make $1 million. Oh, fuck, fair enough.
Right.
Like literally tapping into the incel rage, the marketing funnel.
I mean, it's the Fight Club army. If you really want to look at it, it is. It's the Fight Club army. It's the guys who have nothing to do and feel disenfranchised, and they will do just about anything to feel as though they belong, and that includes making asses of themselves for their guru. And if you get rock hard for your guru and not your girl, you're either gay or you're with the wrong girl. and that's how I view a lot of these guys, is that not that they're repressed homosexuals, but that they take too much stock in the people that they follow and they pay less attention to their lives around them. And that's another thing too about professionalism, is that if you are conscious of your own image and the way that you go about yourself in the world and the way that you present yourself to other people, that keeps you grounded. That's another form of touching grass. and I think a lot of these guys, need big lawns to roll around in at this point, because they've spent too much time in parasocial relationships.
And there's no consequence for it. There's no immediate consequence. It's like a slow burn. Like you can sit
Well,
here and listen to all the whaminate shit.
yeah.
This is how you make a fortune. This is what an alpha male is shit all day. And you're not going to notice that your life sucks because of it. Not at first. It'll be years of sitting there wasting your potential, wasting your talent.
No.
And yeah, you're not getting girls because you're following the alpha male advice, sure. But you don't know the potential. I don't know how to describe that. I know there's
Well,
a
no,
term for it. You're smart.
you'll be experiencing, asshole creep.
Yeah,
you
that's it.
know,
Asshole creep.
into your personality. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the thing is you're going to take on some of the worst personality traits of the content that you're following.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it's kayfabe, even if it's just done for the purposes of entertainment, if you
You
hear
start to believe it.
something enough times, not only are you going to start to believe it, but you're going to pick up, the jargon, the cadence, all that bullshit. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's like the red pill ranger that we you always used to deal with back in the day, who would be in the space for 3 months, completely just engulf themselves with all the books all at once.
Mm-hmm.
They don't read everything through from cover to cover, one at a time. They I gotta consume everything all at once,
Yeah.
just gorge on this knowledge, and then they get the jargon down and they start to, do whatever and try to implement, and they don't know what the hell they're doing because they're like drinking from a garden hose and trying to implement at the same time, and you just come off as like some poorly programmed robot with RP knowledge, and you're experiencing the blue screen of death when you're faced with an actual woman.
Well, I
And
always call it the 8-year-old in a wedding dress, like an 8-year-old girl wearing her mom's wedding dress. Like, yeah, all the
yeah,
parts are there, but it's
right,
just off.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not it's not uncanny valley off, but it's incongruent. I mean,
Ooh, I like that.
Wine More Please is in the audience. I mean, one of his biggest you know tropes or issues that he likes to talk about is the incongruity of people who are trying to implement RP knowledge versus those who are aware of it. And there's a big disconnect there because you can want to be and see yourself as the changing alpha Chad, but the person that you're necessarily using this information on doesn't necessarily see you that way yet, and you get frustrated because it's like, I've made all these changes and why doesn't this, person understand that? Well,
That's
it's
what always gets
because,
me because, yeah, it's a covert contract. It's the
right,
basic stuff you're supposed to learn before anything else.
yeah, and that's the thing though, is that the covert contract never goes away. You think that your effort in solving a problem should produce a solved problem. And people aren't necessarily problems to solve. That's the problem with guys trying to, implement tips and strategies and solutions, is that they feel as though there should be a final outcome or a complete answer at whatever it is that they're doing. And
And it's always external. How can I fix my wife? How do I fix this
yep,
marriage? It's never, what do I need to fix on me? And
right,
sometimes, yeah, being able to cut dead weight from your life is something you need to fix. But
yes,
they're so attached to everything else being the problem. No, I'm good. I just got to find a way to manipulate everything else into fitting into this.
well, I mean, maybe you could, fit an hour a day into the gym. I mean, that's a lot of, well, but I mean, that's a lot of these guys'
Fit your
problems.
ass into a diet, you bitch.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah, yeah. Fit yourself into a pink medium polo shirt so you can go on 21 convention and give a talk.
Yeah.
Um,
Ooh, this one here. So it's a little sidebar, but what aggravates me is people treat this like they just get smoking holier than thou.
yeah,
Dude, Red Pill had this too. I think
yeah,
you've seen it. I know I did it.
yep,
Where as soon as you figure things out, you have your main event or whatever, your marriage starts getting good, your relationship's good, you're making some money, and now, fuck you guys, I'm the fucking man, and there's nothing you can tell me. I think there's like a 6-month gloating period that every guy kind of gets, and then you eventually calm down and get into like a normal state of affairs. But yeah, that's random. That's part of it. Hell, just look at John. Made his $2 million, and all of a sudden now he's talking like he's Trump.
Oh, I know.
It's a yeah.
He's been spiking that football for 18 months now.
But yeah, and I don't know how long it's supposed to last. I've usually seen it last like half a year. That's how much it lasts for me. But eventually it goes away, and you
Right.
start to get comfortable in your new way of doing things.
Yeah,
So I try
guys.
not to, and I try not to give too much like what the fuck to these moments because
Well,
I'm like,
right. Well, that's the
yeah,
thing, though. Too. That's another thing that professionalism helps with. It helps you avoid hubris.
mm,
If you treat every day, yeah, if you treat every day like yesterday and the next day, and you go through and you stay consistent with whatever it is that you're doing personally and professionally, and you're the person that you want to be, and everybody sees that, and you're congruent with it day after day after day,
yep,
you don't have these ultra highs and ultra lows that a lot of these people are experiencing. I mean, personally, I would never want my guru to appear bipolar.
unhinged.
But yeah, bipolar or unhinged, exactly, because during their successes, they're really, really just jamming that fist up your ass about how great they are, and then when things start to go awry, they start to get some clarity on the situation, and they start to become contrite. But then if they go back on an upswing, oh no, fuck that, I'm the best, and that type of mentality is. I'm not saying it's unprofessional, but it's not professional because
Yeah,
the pro knows that there's going to be dry times. I mean, even the best hitters in baseball generally only get a hit about every 3 out of 10 times at the plate.
right.
Okay, so they're failing 7 out of 10 times, and if you fail 7 out of 10 times at baseball, you end up in the Hall of Fame. Okay, so look at it that way. The best shooters on the basketball court only make about half of their shots. And that's the thing is that even those at the very top of their game, those who are really honing their craft, doing the best that they absolutely can to protect their image, put out quality product, are still going to have misses. They're gonna do or say something that doesn't resonate. It's like me being on this show with Ryan. I think we're going to get 10,000 views. We'll probably end up with 6,500. That's just the way that it is.
Yeah.
You can't.
But the thing is, you hedge against that too, right? Like you're smart enough and professional enough to know about these highs and lows. You're self-aware to know that your shit doesn't stink just because you had a couple successes under your belt. So when these failures do come, and this is the part I love about a guy when you see he has frame. It's like the Celsius. You're telling me about the Celsius thing going under. I got 20 grand in it. I'm just like, well, it sucks to be me. Like, I'm not going to cry about it. But that's the same thing. I knew crypto is very risky as an endeavor. I know, like, a crypto bank, it's something brand new. There's a risk involved. And yeah, it might pay off great, but I might lose it all. So put in there what I can afford to lose. And so when you get, now if it had gone up 5 times and I make 100 grand off of it, I'll be sitting here telling you guys I'm fucking jerking off excellence. But if it fails, then I have the cool confidence to know, yeah, you know what? The worst case scenario, I made sure whatever happens, I can live with it.
Right.
And so now it's like, shit happens. Now when you're telling me about like their bankruptcy stuff, I kind of like, oh, that's interesting, and keep that in the vault. So next time some big risky event comes up, I remember, oh yeah, I remember this was like the Celsius thing, or with the Tates, I remember this was like the Yiannopoulos thing. And I think most guys ignore that. Frame it, like experience is a factor in frame, I would say.
Yes, yeah, I do think that youth is wasted on the young, but experience is also wasted on the old.
Yeah.
And again, this gets back to don't be mad at Bob Vila, because if I'm out here and I've already experienced all the bullshit that you're going through, and you're telling me, no man, I got this, it's going to be different for me than it was for you, and I kind of just give you a thumbs up and go, okay,
Yeah. Good luck, sir.
yeah, well, I'm sure you got this, young blood. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, having gone through the same thing 4 or 5 different times in my long ass life. But that's the thing that I think somebody with experience can give to somebody younger, is that they can cut down on the learning curve of the pain cycle, the bullshit cycles, and that's the thing. I've said it before, and I go back to it, is that change only occurs in the presence of pain.
Yeah.
And
That's not a bug. That's a feature. That's a human feature.
I know, and
Yeah.
it's unfortunate, and I wish it would be different. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to get past those pain points as quickly as possible by showing you, what the aftermath of certain things are, so you can prepare for it and be, a better, a more aware person when these things are starting to happen. And like Ryan and I, and Wine More Please and Scurv, and a lot of the guys in the Nick August, guys in the community who are a little bit older, or are now parents or have been in relationships for a certain period of time, whether past relationships or current relationships. We've seen things, and the thing is that people aren't so different as to experience really novel things apart from one another.
Yeah.
And it also falls back to, you're not that special, because we all experience very similar things. And the thing that makes some of us, I guess, more special than others when it comes to this type of space is that we recognize the patterns, and we don't catch feelings for the fact that we know something either really good or really bad is going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing, is learning to cut out the highs and lows. And, if you want to call that stoicism, fine. I don't like to call it stoicism, because I don't think they're nearly the same thing.
No.
Being able to cope normally and be modulated emotionally is not stoicism. Stoicism is a way of life that in many cases you've basically given up on trying to be modulated, so you're going to try and remove all emotion possible so you don't feel any pain.
Ask not for broader shoulders, but give me a lighter load.
Yeah. I mean, but the thing is, though, is it's kind of like that. I don't like to use fiction very often as an example, but it's like that movie Up in the Air with George Clooney. He goes around and he gives these talks about, all the stuff in your backpack, like,
oh yeah,
you have all these different things in your life, and, you pile them onto your back, and you have this personal backpack. Well, maybe you can lessen what's in that pack and make your life simplified and more easy. When in fact, he's basically got a life where he grinds away and he makes decent money, but he has no personal life outside of traveling from airport to airport, keeping a really light load, because he's never really picked up any personal relationships along the way.
And that's calibration. That's the part I love. And I'd say, to describe this is why the one article of Rollo's I fluffed the most is the safety net. You're right. The whole thing you've been describing is like a very sophisticated version of that. It's like, look, we're not here to tell you how to be the strongest alpha male ever. This is the worst of feminine behavior. This is the worst of male behavior. This is everything that you can do to fuck up. And knowing all that, here's the strategies, tips and tricks or whatever that guys have done to survive and thrive through those things.
Yeah.
So no matter what happens to you,
yeah,
you're covered. Your floor is livable.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to hit that floor.
Right. The red pill is a safety net. It's not a trampoline. We don't propel people forward or upwards by implementing any of these strategies. I mean, for the most part, people who end up in this, miserable neck of the woods, they do so because they're lost, and they're not at normal baseline male behavior to be attractive to a normal girl. I mean, it's a horrible thing to say, but that's what it is.
You're stunted.
Well, yes, your growth has been stunted in some way. Maybe it was your bitch mother who ran off your dad, who never taught you any, masculinity, or maybe it was your horrible sister who used to bully you, or it was
maybe it's the Adderall when you were developing. There's so many things you could blame, but like, what good is blame gonna do?
Right.
Oh, it's good. That's why I'm fucked over. You're still fucked.
Right. You're 25, 26 years old. You may have a degree, you may not, or you're trying to figure out what it is that you want to do. And you're upset because your physical and emotional needs aren't being fulfilled right now, and you don't know why. And that's where, dumbasses like, me, Ryan, and others come in to say, here's where we think that you could improve yourself in such a way as to become a good baseline man who would be attractive to a nice girl. That's it.
70% men. We're here.
Jesus Christ. It's sad. And it's hard to, kind of express it that way. But, I just lost my mom, and my wife just lost her mother, about 2 weeks apart. And it brings things into perspective in a lot of cases where you just need to simplify things and understand them for what they are rather than what you would wish them to be. You wish that people wouldn't be greedy, or you wish that
women wouldn't be thoughts, or
right, or
we could go back to the old days, like the cigarette ads,
whatever. Yeah, I mean, you yearn for the Moors of yore. What kind of manners maketh the man during certain times and periods. I mean, if I call Ryan a good boy, it's still fucking racist, regardless of whether or not
it's 20% racist. I'm kind of mixed.
Right, but you understand my point is that politeness in many cases still doesn't cover for the fact that you're an asshole.
No.
And simpler times or more cordial times, doesn't make for necessarily a better society either. It's more stuff is implicit and less explicit. If I go up to a woman in the South and I ask her, how she's doing, and she says, "Fine, bless your heart," she told me to go fuck off. I mean, She didn't say it in those words, but that's what she told me.
Yeah. Now the flip side, you go to an Australian, she calls you a cunt. That's actually a good thing.
Right. Yes.
But you have to have experience. You have to be aware of that. And other people are giving experience, but you have to actually, I don't want to say vet your guru, because that's like a catchy marketing phrase at this point, but you have to be discerning of the information you decide to take in and internalize.
Right. And look, not to shit on a lot of these young guys who get into this industry, but their experience level is very low, but their energy is very high. And depending on what type of person you are, you can gravitate to someone with high energy and forgive it because the person seems passionate about whatever it is that they're talking about. I mean,
crackheads are passionate about crack. So what?
Right. But I don't want to shit on Hunter again. But I mean, one of the things about him is that he's always been very, very passionate about his own message. He believes in his own shit so much that he gets incredibly, into an emotional about his expression of his message. And
oh, did I cause this then with my irrational confidence essay? Am I the fault? Oh no.
No, but I mean,
damn it, Ellis.
No. The irrational confidence thing, I think is limited mostly to approach and game, but that's if you take it too far, I mean, you're gonna end up in jail or an insane asylum because I'm here and I deserve a sandwich because I'm me. Give me that sandwich.
That's the problem with everything, is like everything is situational. Everything requires some amount of calibration to what's going on around you. Or like that's why Rambo was a thing. Remember, was it Alpha as Wolf that kept, because his hands were cold and his wife said, "Warm your hands and I'll blow you," and then he started ragdolling her around because he thought it was a shit test, and then she was threatening to call the cops by the end of it.
Yep.
That's exactly what happens when irrational confidence doesn't have any kind of calibration. If you guys, I don't know if we've told this story before, but I'll save it for a different one. You'll love it.
Yeah, there are always examples of guys who they get a little bit of information and they implement it as ham-fisted as they possibly can.
Yeah,
and that is the definition of the old red pill Rambo, the guy who just points the machine gun up in the air, starts yelling and firing all at once. It's a lot of noise and fury, but completely ineffective. And
right.
that's what you end up with a lot of these guys who they don't have the life experience to know that you just can't dominate a situation in such a way that is, one, not in tune with your own personality. Because if somebody changes like that on a dime, everybody's going to notice it. I mean, especially somebody that you've been with for a while or somebody that you're trying to get with. They're going to notice that, hey, there's something off about this guy. He's not.
And they're going to push back very quickly.
Right. Yeah, and that is one of the things that people got upset about, in the implementation of game and dread and everything else, is that they don't understand that there's another person on the other end of this who has their own agenda, and also has eyes to see that you're acting like a fucking idiot. And that's the
Are we going after Blue Pill Professor now with his fuck me or fuck you covert contract at the end of Dread?
That's just dumb.
Yeah.
But you can't fault the guy for trying to create a systematic way to raise
agreed.
thread levels. But
it's the best of what we got, and nobody's done any better yet. So yeah, for sure.
Right. It was, yes. It's a 5.5 out of 10. But before that, there was nothing. So you kind of have to look at it that way. It's like, how do we treat illness? Well, we've got leeches right now. They sort of work on some things. I'm sure there's something better out there, but at this point in time, we don't have anything yet.
Yeah, slightly better than prayer, but not much.
Right. Well, that describes everything with men and women. Slightly better than prayer, but not much.
Fucking hell. I don't know. How could you take? It's like I don't know how people can take this seriously. You have to have not just sexual dynamics, not just the red pill, but like everything. I think there's an irreverence that you kind of have to have. Maybe it's because I've grown up, but like I don't trust professionals anymore unless they give me a reason to trust them. Like I need to see proof before I start believing you on anything. A girl telling how hot she is, a guy talking about how rich he is, a doctor promising they have a cure for something. I just haven't, and it's not just that not trusting, but yeah, like it's almost like whimsical incompetence. It's like, oh yeah, tell me more about the COVID vaccine, or tell me more about this.
Well, here's a good example.
But do you think it's always been that, or do you think like I'm growing up and it's always been there? I just didn't see it.
No, I think it's always been there. There's always been some cocksure dipshit who is going to say something about something he knows absolutely nothing about and be viewed as an authority because he or she may know something in a different area.
Right.
It's like school teachers talking about COVID. It's like, look, man, stay in your fucking lane. I'm not going to try and tell you about pedagogy or how to run a classroom. So why should
the best way to seduce one of your students, for fuck's sakes?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't seduce your students. Don't bother me when I'm seducing grown-ups. That would be my message. But just as a quick poll, I mean, guys in the chat. Here's my question. What causes ulcers? Stomach ulcers.
I can actually run a poll. Do you want to give them options, or you just want to hear their flat out answers?
Okay. Here's even better. True or false? Ulcers are caused by stress.
Let's see. We'll do like an official Dread. I already know the answer to this one, so I'll be very curious. And you always have to add the let me see, because otherwise everybody just clicks one and don't care.
Right.
Trying to do my best. One more please is in the chat, so if I'm doing any kind of statistical analysis, I do my best to like make it somewhat like rigorous.
Right. Yeah.
You guys go polls in the chat. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, you don't want the PhD in data science to get mad at you about data.
That's the good thing too. That's the one that gets me the most about Zach. It's that the married red pill, like everybody in there is really good at stuff. Dude,
he never asked anybody for advice in their specialties.
And then forgetting just because maybe you're more red pilled or better at red pilled than them, like you do law. Wine More Please could talk about statistics or any kind of like any type of breakdowns like that. Over 70 Stupid Loner, Financial Wizard, doctors, military guy. Like there's always somebody there who knows something. It just happened they had a weak spot somewhere in the sexual dynamic area.
I think Vass might be an arms dealer. So,
I think he's a lawyer. He does what is it? He's the lawyer that tells you about the risk when you're doing certain things, but he's so valuable at it, they only need him a little bit, so he essentially works from home and then comes in once a month, but he makes enough for the company that they don't care.
Yeah, bet the business risk analysis, yeah.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Which I've worked with those kind of lawyers, and they're really they are really cocky because they got their thing. They know it.
Yeah.
And people only ignore them once.
Well, and that's the thing. If one of your lawyers in the group dresses like a banker and the rest dress like lawyers, trust the guy who dresses like a banker.
Oh boy,
because he's not one check away from not not eating.
Okay, so. You're gonna love it. The poll's already ended. I'm gonna end the poll now, but I think you've kind of made your point. 55 votes, ending it. So 42% said yes, it's caused by stress. 38 said no, and the rest were like, I don't want to take a commitment. I want to see.
Okay.
All right, hook them up. You're gonna let these 41% of people know.
Okay. Well, the simple fact is that a scientist won a Nobel Prize finding that a bacteria, H. pylori, found in the gut, causes stomach ulcers. Stomach ulcers are completely unrelated to stress at any given time. Mm-hmm. Stomach ulcers can be cured with antibiotics if you go to the right doctor at the right time. The end. That is the answer.
I thought it was going to be more switched on than that. I'm impressed.
Right.
But I guess you called it. You're the smart one.
Right. See, the problem is that we are given certain information for a certain period of time for long enough from so many sources that no matter how incorrect, no matter how groundbreaking the evidence is to the contrary, no matter how ubiquitous the problem is, and no matter how easily found the correct answer is, you still get the wrong fucking answer from people on these things. And this does not change on any other subject. Whether it be relationships, sex, money, anything. And this is part of the problem is that, worldwide, it's not just an American exceptionalism thing. It's a worldwide problem that people think they just know shit, and they don't. And they frankly, are, when they're given the correct information, it goes out in one ear and out the other. Because they've been told from either a young enough age or they've operated well enough within the intellectual parameters that they have that they just don't need to learn shit.
Yeah, and that's what you were saying before with the problem with life is being too easy right now is we're not getting those feedbacks anymore of when things are wrong.
No, and also because everything is parasocial and a lot of it's on the internet, you're not getting any of that immediate feedback either. Because, some of the dumb shit that a lot of these assholes say online, whether they're content creators or trolls in the comments, if they said that directly to somebody in person, they get punched in the fucking face. And that easily. That would be the correction, the pain point where they say, maybe I shouldn't have, taken that viewpoint because in doing so, I got my ass kicked.
Or at least confident enough and doing the research enough that you're willing to risk it. I think I was telling Ed Lattimore that he and Tate was actually like, he talks a lot of shit now. And I'm talking to Ed Lattimore about something. I go, look, if you don't believe it enough to risk an ass whooping, then you don't believe it. It's like,
right.
But yeah, you're right. If there's no ass whooping coming, I'll just run my mouth. Fuck it, whatever.
Right.
It's guys, literally defective women. And like you said an hour ago, where women will run their mouth with the thuggest shit ever because they know nobody wants to hit them.
Yep. Yeah.
That's guys on the internet. We're literal ass models of Instagram. Ugly ones too.
Ugly ones. That's right.
Oh,
that's right. We're those mids that we keep talking about.
Bet. Oh fuck! All right, so I'm doing rule 0 today, so we got to end this one off here, dude. I love these ones, guys. Follow Chesty here. Let's see if we can make him the biggest brand in the manosphere by accident. I think that would be great just for the irony of it.
Yeah.
I don't have a follow-up here. Maybe I'll just put on one of my little ads where somebody's talking shit. You want to end it off with Stedman?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, let's end it off with Stedman.
I love the way girls smell. I love how they always make sure, by and large, they shower, and they just have an amazing smell to them in general.